What's up, guys? Coach Mike here. Welcome back to another episode of the Coaches College Sin League, a league dedicated to real schemes and real game planning to try to replicate real-life football. This week, we're taking a look at Week 7 and 8 as things begin to heat up in the MAC and Sun Belt, and as well as nationally for the race to the playoffs. Last week, Western Michigan stunned the league by taking down another seemingly tough Buffalo team, as Val Lucky makes National and MAC Player of the Week with 8 tackles and 1 interception as the Broncos win 45-37. Deontay Washington would join him as MAC Player of the Week with 10 receptions for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. Miguel Manziel continues his campaign with another Sun Belt Player of the Week with 145 all-purpose yards, 2 receiving touchdowns, and 15 receptions. This week we got to see a couple of great matchups in the national space as 5-1 Auburn goes up against 5-1 Arkansas, and number 5 Michigan hosts number 6 Penn State for a top 10 matchup inside the Big Ten, as well as number 9 BYU hosting their rival number 19 Utah for a matchup that could surely decide a playoff spot in the next couple weeks coming forward. Florida International continues to stun the world, standing at number 7 now, as well as Hawaii entering the playoff chat with a win last week against Duke and a matchup this week against 3-3 New Mexico. Oklahoma continues to hold the spot as king as they go into Kentucky, who's 4-2 in an SEC matchup. Devian Sly, the freshman, continues to lead the league in passing, but he's followed closely behind Auburn's Roy Cheeseman. Both quarterbacks face a tough opponent this week while looking to maintain their status as league leaders. Alex Henry from FIU also keeps himself in the conversation with top stats that give FIU a spot at 7 in the top 25. Top 7 rushers in the league all come from Jeep 4 programs. Not all users, but they are led by Dexter D'Imperio from Kent State with 958 yards and 12 touchdowns, and he's followed by D'Angelo Wicks from Georgia Southern with 10 touchdowns, and Miami, Ohio's Mike McCormick, who has 9. Defensively, there aren't a ton of users in the mix for stat leaders, but Buffalo's Ben Cheridor leads the users with 62 total tackles and 1 sack, while San Jose State's Levi Surratt leads the league with 68 total tackles, 5 tackles for losses, and 2 sacks. Jay Madison's Kerry McNair looks to stay in the mix and keep JMU's defense relevant, although they have been giving up a ton of points throughout the season. The MAC is currently tied for first between Miami, Ohio, and Kent State, who also joined the national stage as Miami is ranked 18th and Kent State now 25. Central Michigan joined the rankings last week, but suffered an upset loss against Ohio in their pistol double-wing attack, which jump-started their conference race to 1-0. While teams like UMass, Buffalo, Northern Illinois, they find themselves desperate early for a conference win. The Sun Belt so far has been dominated by 3 teams, and that's Old Dominion, Georgia Southern, and South Alabama. But guys like Marshall, Louisiana, and Georgia State could jump into the race with another conference win, and James Madison brings power offensively, but defensively leads the league in points against and needs to fix things up if they want a chance at the title shot. We start the highlights in Amherst, Massachusetts, where 2-3 Akron takes on 3-3 Massachusetts, and both teams are looking to stay alive. Quarterback Robert Cantwell starts the game by opening up to a deep pass early. This is where he would set himself up to run the ball in and draw first blood as Akron scores the first score of the game. Looking to go in again, Cantwell tries a pass for the corner of the end zone and is picked this time by sophomore Gabe Gillette from Florida. The momentum would completely change from here on out. After an injury from starting quarterback Dakota Chester, backup quarterback Arsenio for UMass enters the game and throws an absolute bomb to backup wide receiver Ian Agbana, who makes his first score of the season. And this here is just a little preview into the future of UMass football, as both players look to continue their journey next season as well. UMass's defense, showing weakness all season, would accumulate 5 total sacks this game, and it would be just enough to give the Minutemen the win, 23-20. After the game, Coach Daniel put all quarterback controversy to rest, as he said as soon as Dakota Chester was off the injury list, he would be back and he would be the starter. And the Minutemen skate by with another conference win. We turn to the Battle of two Ohio teams in the MAC now, where Ohio is coming off a huge upset win against Central Michigan as they were ranked last week finally, but cannot seem to get a win as a top 25 team. Can the Bobcats finish off another top 25 opponent in the conference and make this 2 in a row? Let's find out. There was not going on much through the first, but the start of a second, Ohio's Imani Akuda can't hold on to the ball as it pops out to be recovered by the defense. Stopped on third, the Redhawks without hesitation line up for a fourth down play where Tracy Abram walks in clean for the first score of the game. After missing an opportunity on an open shot, Miami is forced to punt it to Heisman candidate Mike McCormick, who finds a perfect wall from his punt team and takes it over 85 yards for a punt return touchdown. McCormick would later have a 55-yard rush for a touchdown that would close this game out, and the Redhawks would win 24-0. Bowling Green travels to Northern Illinois, and they're both 1-4, fighting to stay relevant in the MAC. A conference win and a win in general is really important for both teams' morale. First quarter, sophomore Braden Devlin's been getting the nod, but here fumbles and junior captain Quinn Cush scoops and scores for Bowling Green. Devlin starts to find his groove later as he finds the big man Harvey Condren for a touchdown. The Huskies would show little to no offense after that, after a missed third down opportunity in the red zone ultimately lost them the game, and they were defeated 19-10 by Bowling Green. They dropped to 1-5, and Bowling Green moves to 2-4. We now go all the way up to Buffalo, where they host Eastern Michigan. And on this play, Antoine Thorne takes a simple flat route and turns it into a track meet against the Eagles, where nobody catches him. This would be his longest play on the day for 69 yards, and he would attain 160 all-purpose yards throughout the night. Trey President has stepped into the West Coast system in his first year and has been very hot and cold throughout the year. But here he seems to thread the needle and finds star receiver Nate Chiamiato and goes in for another drive, 2 touchdowns to 2 different receivers. Looking to go in for another score, President takes a shot over the middle and is intercepted by Eastern senior captain David Crosby, who would record 5 tackles throughout this game, plus the interception. Before heading into half, Buffalo shifts into an empty set where President finds Chiamiato again, and Buffalo would blow Eastern Michigan out of the water 55-13. Trey President would ultimately end the game with 360 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions, as the quarterback looks to lower his turnover ratio. Nate Chiamiato would end with 178 yards with 2 touchdowns, and Antoine Thorne would end the game with 83 receiving yards for 2 touchdowns. 498 yards of total offense. A team that has mainly been dominating the passing stats, Western Michigan opens up their game with 2 rushing touchdowns from senior Cliff Logan, who would only have 56 yards but 2 touchdowns on the day that would propel Western Michigan forward for the win. But Ball State's quarterback has been phenomenal this season. Robert Mueller has been putting up efficient numbers that the NFL scouts are all looking for, as he finds Gil Duke in the end zone to tie it up against the Broncos. Shout out to the troops. The Broncos would then take advantage of a rare misfire from Mueller as Tremaine Boone takes an intercepted pass back 89 yards to keep Western ahead. This would be Western Michigan's only turnover of the game. Ball State would decide to answer right back as Cortez Joy would zoom down the field for a 102-yard touchdown. He would end with 178 yards returning total on the day, with an average of 35 yards on the return. Skip to the fourth, 36-32 Ball State up. Broncos get a huge sack to keep them out of the end zone and held to 3 points. This would give Deontay Yazzie the opportunity to drive down and tie this thing up with a rush into the end zone. Another huge third down stop holds Ball State to another field goal and now the chance to win for the Broncos. Yazzie finds his favorite receiver, Deontay Washington, on a strike down the middle where Yazzie would sneak it in, only 11 seconds remaining. Western would win 46-42. And Western Michigan continues to roll through the MAC. We now start in the Sun Belt, where Georgia Southern hosts Georgia State in an in-state battle. TJ Wade would draw first blood for the Eagles, who would ultimately score 513 yards on the day. But Georgia State's George Cash has been a problem for users in this dynasty as he skates in to tie it up. The Eagles would keep him to 65 yards and a fumble on the day. TJ Wade would answer again as he starts the game with 3 carries for 93 yards, and he loves big breakout runs. Any week now we should be seeing him in the Heisman race. Georgia Southern senior Lamar Creer also joined the mix today with 86 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on the day as the Eagles roll through Georgia State 45-10 and continue to crush the competition in the Sun Belt. They would also accumulate 20 first downs and almost 10 yards average on the play with 9.9. Texas State hosts Marshall as one team looks to jump back into the title mix and another looks to just continue their success. Texas State has had a rough first half of the season, but a win here would propel them back into the conference title conversation. After a big Sun Belt win against Arkansas State last week, which they won 34-31. Marshall's coming off a tough loss from number 10 ranked Louisville, in which they lost 21-19 in the last seconds of the game. Texas star Nathan Goodman showed grit early as he bowls forward for the first down. Enrico Espinoza would throw for 2 touchdowns and 180 yards as the duos found themselves up big early against Marshall. The Bobcats would earn 393 yards on 78 plays, averaging 5 yards a play, with 19 first downs. That's until Marshall receiver Mario Trope steps up to have one of the biggest games of his college career, with 223 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marshall quarterback Jabron Hamden also had a standout performance as he would throw for 408 yards and 6 touchdowns. That would be to 4 different receivers, 2 to Mario Trope, 1 to running back Lee Anku, 1 to Eric Mayu, and 2 to Mike Ashmore. This would be an incredible stat line for the day and ultimately the deciding factor, as the Herd goes into halftime with Texas State 21-21, ends up coming out on top 56-21, pitching a second half shutout on defense as well. Texas State would also end the day with 4 turnovers, another huge factor. We end the highlights with Coastal Carolina heading into South Alabama for a Sun Belt showdown. Receiver Walter Boyce catches his first TD pass, where he'll have 2 on the day and 170 yards for Coastal Carolina. But the South Alabama Jaguars' Elijah Algier will steal the show as the quarterback throws for 266 yards and rushes for 2 touchdowns on the day, as he continues to propel the Jaguars forward to the top of the Sun Belt rankings. Having 2 touchdowns already on the day, quarterback Jeff Mechie looks for his 3rd and the win, but is unsuccessful because on a 3rd down attempt, Coastal Carolina cannot convert and they would not get the ball back as the Jaguars win again in the Sun Belt, moving up to 6-1. We go to the 2 game of the weeks now, starting with Central Michigan and Kent State in the MAC. Dexter D'Imperio starts the game with a huge run on rocket toss to take it down to about the 3-yard line and set Jeremiah McElroy up for the first touchdown of the game. He would hold all of Kent State's TDs for the night. But Central Michigan's sleeper Heisman contender Dom Perryman would take the option to run it in on the goal line for Central's first TD, and they would tie it up. Start of the second, McElroy just goes to run any ordinary option, but the pitch is stolen by Central safety Sean Sauer. Sean would lead the team in defensive stats for the day with 9 total tackles and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Running back Jimmy Hagg would stretch the wound as he takes his biggest rush of the day for 64 yards into the end zone, and Central Michigan would go up 2 scores. Hagg would have 196 yards on 23 carries with 2 touchdowns on the day. Now, down 3 scores in the fourth, Kent State's McElroy takes it upon himself to go 43 yards for the touchdown. He would end with 147 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. But Dom Perryman proves why he's the king of the MAC even as a freshman, as he throws a pass into the end zone to secure a win. He may not have the best stats throughout the game, but he came up clutch when his team needed it. The Chippewas would ultimately take this thing 42-34. A final score by Kent State would end up putting them in by a possession, but they ultimately would not get the ball back. The Chippewas are proud of their strong identity as the top defensive team in the MAC and also the nation. We end the week with Old Dominion heading into James Madison for the Sun Belt rivalry, and boy did it live up to the hype. Old Dominion stands at the top of the Sun Belt Conference, while after a tough loss to Georgia Southern the previous week, James Madison is on the outside looking in. But a win here could completely flip the script for both teams. Old Dominion comes in as the top-ranked offense in the country, while James Madison comes in ranked last in every defensive category inside the Sun Belt. League leader and freshman Devian Sly finds tight end Casey Galladay down the middle, which would set the freshman Miguel Manzella for the first score of the game, as he would rush it in about 10 yards for a score. Manziel and Old Dominion lead the league in passing, but tonight they would ultimately get 6 rushing touchdowns. Proof they can score any way possible. Middle of the first, Manziel takes a sweep from slide on the power read, where he slides around the corner and makes it through great blocking from his secondary for his second rushing TD of the game. Darren Pounds, league leading in rusher, follows his puller around the edge and finds his way for JMU's first score, and the Dukes show sign of life. The run success continues for a pass-heavy Old Dominion as Matt Parsons scores his first touchdown of the game. He would have 101 yards on the day as well. That's the sophomore from Maryland. Freshman Rashad Waddy would get the pass game going with a strike to Zeke Mast for another touchdown. Both teams showed tremendous effort on the ground tonight. Old Dominion would rush for 208 yards on 31 attempts and 6 touchdowns, while James Madison would rush for 327 yards on 39 attempts with 3 touchdowns. James Madison averaging 8.4 carries on the rush, and Old Dominion averaging 6.7. Darren Pounds would end with what seems to be the magic number tonight with 3 touchdowns, while Rashad Waddy would also end with 3 passing touchdowns as well on the night. Middle of the second, 28-21 ODU over the Dukes, as James Madison would eventually tie it up as Waddy finds freshman Rook Alawali in a tight window down the middle, and then set up tight end Devin Carmona with a sneak out into the flat for a touchdown. We now jump to the fourth, where Matt Parsons continues to make a huge difference with the run game here. Old Dominion says give it to him again. And again. And you know what? Why not give it to him again for the trifecta, and this time ultimately the touchdown? Tonight comes in threes. Down 42-38, a field goal just isn't going to cut it with 4 minutes left. Waddy's going to have to take a deep shot with his eyes closed, but finds Deshaun Hayes on his longest reception of the day for 51 yards and ultimately the game-winning touchdown. The freshman Rashad Waddy continues to show tremendous heart throughout the season. Old Dominion would be driving and find themselves on the 50 when Devian Slide is sacked and Old Dominion is forced to punt. They would ultimately not get the ball back, as Darren Pounds would gain a couple first downs and burn all of Old Dominion's timeouts. They would run out the clock and seal the victory and claim a crucial Sunbelt win against Old Dominion 45-42. Not much success from James Madison's defense, but it just doesn't matter as their offense scores 56 points and absolutely rolls through defenses in the Sunbelt this season. A cleaned up defense could put them in the top 25 spot. Week 8 would show the same action and then some. UMass, rolling off a huge win against conference foe Akron, looks to continue their success and make their conference record 3-1 in the MAC. We host Kent State this week, who is led by QB Jeremiah McElroy in his 4-touchdown performance last week in their loss against Central Michigan. Kent State looks to roll UMass and not fall deeper into a hole they might have to dig themselves out of come the end of the season. UMass finishes the season with Buffalo, Western Michigan, and Penn State at the end of the year, while Kent State finishes with the top MAC teams, Miami, Ohio, and Western Michigan. And speak of the devil, there is a new dark horse in the MAC, and it's Western Michigan. After a huge win against Buffalo and a nail-biter last week against Robert Mueller and Ball State, the Broncos find themselves in the driver's seat of their own season at 2-0 in the MAC. Teams like Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and UMass look to continue climbing the rankings, while teams like Buffalo and Kent State are all desperate for wins this week to get their conference title back in sight. Georgia Southern and South Alabama continue to dominate the league with conference wins last week, but Marshall isn't looking to jump in the front. They're looking to officially be sitting at the top. They join the top dogs of the Sun Belt with 4 conference wins. And another conference win for James Madison would definitely put them in the conversation for a shot at the title. The best top 25 matchups this week seem to be number 10 Louisville heading into 4 Georgia Tech for a top 10 ACC matchup, as well as the top of the league Oklahoma going to number 6 Alabama for another top 10 SEC matchup, as Alabama looks to jump back into the race after a huge loss against Central Michigan. Both QBs were once in the Heisman race on these teams, and now they have slipped out, looking to get back into the mix. This week's MAC Player of the Weeks are Buffalo's very own Eric Blue with 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 interception for a touchdown, as well as Antoine Thorne, who had 165 all-purpose yards and 4 touchdowns in their role against Eastern Michigan. Heath Hardwick leads the Sun Belt with 13 tackles, with 6 tackles for losses and 1 forced fumble in the win against Texas State, as Darren Pounds runs for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns in his amazing performance against Old Dominion. Miguel Manziel still seems to be leading the Heisman polls despite an upsetting win to James Madison last week. Manziel had 130 all-purpose yards and 3 rushing TDs, and Lorenzo Pike enters the race, and a huge win this week against Alabama could propel him and his campaign even further. Antoine Thorne also joins the discussion in his blowout win against Eastern Michigan. Kent State starts the week, this time traveling to Massachusetts. And Dexter D'Imperio opens up another game with a huge run on their opening offensive drive, this time for 6 points as he dives for the pylon. Dakota Chester shows that he's absolutely fine off his injury as he rolls out and makes a beautiful pass to Ben Kaufman. He will then later take a shot over the top to Kaufman again as he hits the end of the end zone over 2 Kent State defenders for a beautiful touchdown pass. Back and healthy, better than ever. Dakota Chester. Ben Kaufman would have a great day as he runs a post over the middle and catches a beautiful ball in a tight window, drops at the 1. This would set running back Paul Zolak up for a touchdown, and UMass would take the lead up by a score. On a rollout, McElroy throws to the end zone, and UMass misses a crucial interception in the end zone. Kent State is not a team that you want to give second chances, as Dexter D'Imperio snags a pass in the goal line that would eventually punch the Flashes in, followed by another D'Imperio toss for a touchdown. He would have his worst rushing day of the year with only 52 yards, but would have 3 touchdowns. Flash to the fourth, where UMass's defense looks to hold Kent State to a field goal, but McElroy drops back and finds D'Imperio in the end zone on a nice window to ultimately give Kent State the win, as UMass would throw an interception and not get another chance. Kent State not only keeps their MAC title chances alive, but also they continue the race for the 12th spot in the playoff. They would beat the Minutemen 28-17. The 1-5 Northern Illinois Huskies are not sleepwalking through this week. Ball State is 2-5, but quarterback Robert Mueller has been an electric factory in the MAC so far. Here he is with 3 big plays on the opening drive. The first a quarterback keep, the second a beautiful pass to the sideline, and the third would be the last, and it would be a score as he would take it up the seam and bounce off 2 defenders for a touchdown. Huskies quarterback Percy Fowler stepped up to the plate this week as he finds Kwabena Arami and then sophomore Eric Dillard in the end zone for a touchdown. The Huskies would end with 289 yards of total offense. After almost turning the ball over on a popped-out forced fumble, the Ball State running back room redeems itself with a touchdown catch from senior Gil Duke. An absolutely amazing football name. After a 3-and-out on offense, Huskies defense steps up for a big sack on 3rd down and another chance to score. Quarterback Middlebrooks and running back Nate Carden both get good rushes on the drive, but it is ultimately Bradley Mon who has not seen the field due to team politics, but shows Northern Illinois why he should and can get the ball. He bounces off the entire Ball State defense for a score. Ball State's last chance, Mueller finds Cole Carmona down the seam for a great catch and more. He would be brought down around the 30. Northern Illinois would collect their 3rd sack of the day, but Ball State would stay poised, and Mueller calls his next play and fits a pass in perfectly to the right sideline to Captain Alex Morris. An absolute dot. And on this 2nd and goal, the Huskies look like they had Mueller dead to rights, but he extends it by throwing it into the back of the end zone to Kyrie Cutting. An amazing game where Ball State finds themselves on top of the nail-biter this week, 28-7, and another MAC win for them. Northern Illinois falls to 1-6, and their coach officially enters the hot seat, winning only 1 game this year against an FCS opponent. It would be interesting to see if Robert Mueller is not a senior, and if he decides to transfer this year, a lot of teams will want him. Broncos versus the Rockets. Western trying to keep themselves out of trouble, but Toledo quarterback Joey Snead threads the needle on their first drive of the game to Connor LeBeau, where he would score. A great pass. Deontay Yazzie then sets up Cliff Logan for the team's first touchdown of the night, and Logan would continue his rushing success from last week, clocking in another 3 TDs against Toledo. Western Michigan, being a predominantly pass-heavy team, shows why they are all around a great offensive team, rushing for 3 touchdowns last week and 3 touchdowns this week. But the Snead to LeBeau connection proved to be too tough for the Broncos in the first half, as he finds another connection and hits him down the left seam for a touchdown. Shout out to the troops. Down a score, Western QB Deontay Yazzie finds his main receiver Deontay Washington on the outside route to mesh to tie the game up. Washington would finish with 10 receptions for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns, with 56 yards being his longest catch. Both teams would score again, with Toledo tying the game up with 45 seconds left. But Deontay Yazzie refused to go to overtime. Yazzie signals max protection and a go route to Washington as he fires deep down the seam and connects with them for ultimately the game-winning touchdown pass. Broncos win and continue their undefeated MAC success as they beat Toledo 34-28. Cliff Logan continues his awesome performance with another 3-touchdown game. We now check over to see what our guys in the Sun Belt are doing. We start on a rainy day in God's country. Marshall's Carl Grennan would score the only touchdown of the afternoon, and it was Marshall's defense who deserved all the praise. With 5 different defenders grabbing themselves a sack, the Thundering Herd kept UL Monroe out of 3 4th and goal matchups, leaving UL Monroe 1 for 6 on 4th down conversions, and only 6 for 17 on 3rd down conversions. Marshall would win it 13-0. Marshall would also struggle on offense for the day, only converting 3 for 14 third downs. But being 1 for 1 in the red zone gives them 100% efficiency and the win this week against Monroe. What seemingly started as a strong day for South Alabama quickly turned into trouble. Wayne Silvestro continues to have a breakout freshman year, and South Alabama finds themselves up 28-7, as Trayvon Wimper would score his only touchdown on the day, ending with 93 yards as well. But right before halfback George Cash would score his first touchdown of the day, but it would be exactly what the Panthers needed to get back into this game. Cash would continue to close the gap with another rushing touchdown, where he would end the day with 1 rushing and 1 receiving touchdown and 153 all-purpose yards. But Jaguars quarterback Elijah Algier continues to impress the nation as he finds Ezekiel Udunze in for the touchdown, and the Jags show life. Feeling the pressure, quarterback Emmanuel Diawara would make an amazing move in the pocket to find time and find Torrey Ruggs for a beautiful touchdown. With 2 minutes left, Diawara stays collected and delivers the tying blow to South Alabama with a touchdown to junior Larry Douglas, who would have 4 catches on the day. Just when the Jags look like they're starting to get into field goal range, when Elijah Algier finds Kareem Ejioki for a pass, Angel Spain then hits that second level speed and finds the end zone for a Jaguars win as South Alabama takes it home 42-35 with a last-second touchdown. Georgia State would be sacked at the midline and would not recover for another chance to run another play. An amazing performance as South Alabama holds on and continues their reign over the Sun Belt. We finished the highlights this week with James Madison traveling to the Teal Turf and facing Coastal Carolina. Freshman Rashad Waddy hits 3 consecutive targets to put James Madison up 2 scores. Waddy would start 8 for 8 with 90 yards. Wide receiver Deshaun Haynes says he wants 6 of his own after a nice move to bounce outside and put James Madison up 21-3. The sophomore has been a huge help to get the freshman Rashad Waddy acclimated to the offense. Coastal Carolina's Jeff Mechie would throw 2 picks on the day, as seen here to defender legend Boyko. Taken back for 36 yards, and the Dukes win it 42-24. A tough start to the year doesn't keep the Dukes down as they continue to climb the Sun Belt even farther. Let's now head to the games of the week, starting with Georgia Southern versus Old Dominion, 2 teams at the top of the Sun Belt. TJ Wade takes a toss for what would be his longest rush of the day for 71 yards. He would have 272 yards on the day and 4 touchdowns. D'Angelo Wicks would trail behind him with 209 yards on the day on 21 carries and 3 touchdowns. His longest would be the 63-yard run. The Eagles would have 600 yards total offense on the day, an amazing feat. The freshman Devian Sly finds his stride as he connects with Baraka Finger and then Heisman candidate Miguel Manziel on a slip screen for a touchdown pass. Manziel would have over 200 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns, continuing his Heisman campaign. Looking to head in again, this time instead of throwing it, Devian Sly takes a blast out of an empty formation up the middle and finds a great lane, and they put themselves up 17-14 over Georgia Southern. TJ Wade will continue his all-time performance. On just 2 carries, he would have 140 yards and 2 touchdowns, putting up absolutely high school type numbers against Old Dominion. The flexbone offense has proved too strong for the league, and no one has yet to contain it. Sly finds his receiver Finger once more, but this time Baraka Finger finds an opening up the seam to put Old Dominion back up. And just like that, we have a classic shootout. Whose defense is going to be the first to make a stop? It won't be Old Dominion here, as TJ Wade takes another toss and breaks it for a big run. This time, D'Angelo Wicks gutting it up the middle and finishing it off the drive for another touchdown. Old Dominion defense not making them earn it in any way, just letting them walk into the end zone. Matt Parsons, after a great performance last week, would come in for a handoff and put Old Dominion in 1st and goal, where they would find Heisman hopeful Miguel Manziel on the slip for another touchdown. Old Dominion's top receiver, Cassius Downs, catches a rocket over the middle for his first appearance of the day. They would set up on the 15, where they motion Manziel into the flat and fire him a pass. He would pick up great blocking from his receivers and find the corner of the end zone. But TJ Wade says, "I'm not done yet," as he finds more gas left in the tank for another huge run, this time for 58 yards and the score. Late in the game, the Eagles find use for their freshman Jamario Trahan, sending him out to the flat for a pass to get the first and then some. Wick would finish the job by bashing his way into the end zone and would make it 42-38, Eagles up now. How is this guy and TJ Wade not in the Heisman candidate race? Here's another run by Wade, and they are not gonna catch him. Georgia Southern going for 50 points on the day, and they'll find it. Looking to just stay in the game, Sly finds himself on a 3rd and long. Not being able to convert, he would find himself in a 4th and long situation, and finding his receiver late, wouldn't be able to get the pass. Jamario Trahan closes out the night with another Eagles touchdown, this time for 87 yards, ending with 92 total yards on the night and a touchdown. That would give Georgia Southern the win 56-38 in the Sun Belt over Old Dominion. Georgia Southern continues to impress everybody in the Sun Belt, and they face Louisiana and Marshall in the next following weeks, as Old Dominion looks to face Marshall next week and then Mississippi State the following. To end the week, we get a rematch of two CCSL greats, Buffalo and Miami, Ohio, who played each other last year, and it came down to the very last play, Miami winning it on the goal line and sending them to the conference title with a strong middle-of-the-season win. Having not faced much trouble yet besides Miami at the beginning of the year, Miami, Ohio looks to host Buffalo, who will probably be their toughest opponent of the year so far. The Bulls start with quarterback Trey El Presidente completing 3 strikes down the field, the last being a pass to wide receiver Nate Chiamiato for a rope, and the Bulls start up 7. The Redhawks offense would stall much of the first half, not seeing much from running backs Mike McCormick or Tracy Abrams. Buffalo keeps their foot on the gas with another touchdown from Trey President to this time Channing Tunyon, the Jersey native. Relentless, El Presidente would then find Caleb Lanning up the left seam for 84 yards and the touchdown, the longest pass of the day, and Lanning would produce the most yards for either team's receiving with 97. A missed opportunity over the top of the defense from quarterback Kyrie Rochelle leaves the Redhawks feeling hopeless going into the half. But a big defensive stop, followed by a hard, gritty run from the true freshman Quentin Pilgrim for a 59-yard TD run, and Miami, Ohio will go into the half fired up with the score. We jump to the middle of the third, where the Bulls defense continues to be relentless with another sack. But eventually, Heisman candidate Mike McCormick would find his stride in the red zone, scoring his first touchdown of the day and putting the Hawks down 21-16, missing the 2-point conversion. Trey President has shown signs of greatness jumping into this West Coast system for his first year, but he has also been liable for turnovers a lot this year too. He throws it to Miami's corner, Tyreek Beaver, who would return it 70 yards to give the Redhawks the lead at the end of the third. After just getting warmed up, Mike McCormick then gets hot, with his longest run of the day, 53 yards, and the touchdown to put Miami up 10 points on their beautiful comeback at home. Not sealed yet, Miami misses a field goal and gives Buffalo another opportunity to go down the field for a score. Trey President fires another trifecta of passes, with the third being another touchdown pass for him, making it 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers on the day. This time to Ethan Ellington, another senior from Jersey on this Buffalo roster. Buffalo would have 410 yards of total offense today. Only needing a first down to win, Miami finds themselves stopped on 4th and inches on a slip pass to the freshman Quentin Pilgrim. No hesitation, the coach calls McCormick's number and the Heisman strides for the first down. This would give Miami, Ohio, the second straight win over Buffalo in 2 years. Redhawks win 31-28 and another nail-biter against the Bulls. These two are quickly becoming the hottest rivalry in the CCSL. The Redhawks would end with 392 yards of total offense, averaging 7 yards a play, and Mike McCormick is your player of the game with 2 touchdowns, 118 rush yards on 18 attempts. I just want to give a huge shout out to anybody who watches these videos, anybody who sticks around for the entire video, and I want to give a huge shout out to all the guys in the CCSL. They make this league really fun, and your league's only as good as your members, and I feel like we got the best members. I'm going to leave a Discord link for the Discord down below. Like I said, we're not really looking for members mid-season all the time, but, we love guys who love to just come in and talk football. So please join up and just join in on the conversation with us daily, guys. We'd love to have you. Thanks a lot, and tune in for when we drop another episode. I don't know how I'm going to do this going forward, if I'm going to start doing maybe 1 week at a time. Maybe I'll start doing 1 week, and then I'll do like a short video of a following week after that, but we'll see how it ends up going. I'm going to try it a different couple ways and see what finally sticks. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next week.